Hi, I'm your Gemini friend. So this video is going to be about Venus and Aquarius. I'll be going over the aesthetic and material side, then values, self-worth, and your approach to love and relationships, and then challenges and growth opportunities. So I do have a video more in-depth about Venus in the description, and I do offer personal natal chart readings and synastry readings if you're interested in that. More information in the description. But let's get into this placement, because Venus in Aquarius is a very interesting combination of energies where some aspects of Aquarius as a sign really emphasize the Venus qualities of like collective love, supporting your environment and the people around you, a love for like community and groups, but also there are some parts that go against what Venus represents as far as like harmony and being attractive in a more like standard traditional sort of way, because Aquarius goes against all traditional standards. It is unconventional by nature. So combining the way that Venus represents how we attract things to us and also our personal values, what we consider to be valuable within us and also externally in the world, what we consider to be worth working towards. And of course, love, relationships, this is how we behave when we're wanting to attract someone, be attractive to somebody, and then the way we show affection and love and romance within the relationship. So starting with the aesthetic material side of Venus in Aquarius, this is a very visionary placement, a very like ahead of your time, ahead of the trend and trend setting placement to have, because you're likely literally ahead of the current, the collective current that we are all on, because this shows a very innovative mindset, even like inventive, futuristic. It's essentially not being held back by tradition, not held down by stagnant energy. It's new, it's fresh, it's bold and potentially controversial, because this is meant to inspire change. It's meant to inspire in general and connect with ideas that are going to either like benefit society or benefit individualism and personal expression. So of course technology with that futuristic element can be here, like, you know, wearable tech, or really appreciating functional elements to not just how you dress, but how you decorate, how you choose to make your space look, what your focus is on from more of an aesthetic perspective. And then the strong humanitarian quality of Aquarius energy can come through by preferring like eco-friendly or ethically sourced materials, things that are handmade, things that are supporting causes. And when it comes to like art and music taste, this can also be really valuing indie artists or artists as far from the mainstream as possible. There is naturally just more value that comes from noticing something smaller, noticing somebody who's being unique, being themselves, representing themselves in a very unique way. Because while Aquarius energy is non-conforming and preferring to go against what's expected of it, there is also this extremely strong tie to community and to belonging and like what you can contribute to society. That contribution is something that is always being considered. And then similarly, recognizing other people's unique contributions really helps to support all of humanity just in general, because when we really are expressing our unique selves, when we're doing something that seems especially different, that appreciation for what hasn't been done before or for what might be risky, experimental. This is strongly linked to Venus and Aquarius' like enjoyment of life, of media, of beauty, of art. It's that attraction to what is more representing the very unique sides of people. So there's a strong aversion to things that are boring, things that you've seen a million times, because this is very pioneering energy. And this is specifically being pioneering in the area of art and creativity and the way that you express yourself, even just with your appearance. So of course we can do like visually unexpected combinations, maybe more bold or metallic or just purely experimental with your look. Even like a playfulness, like not taking yourself too seriously. This can be dressing in a more eclectic way, or like music that is kind of funny, extreme, offbeat, And intellectual. Aquarius is a very intellectual energy. It's very cerebral. So it enjoys things that make it think, or make other people think, or even just things that like stir up controversy, get people talking. This is overall an appreciation of things that disrupt the typical Venus flow of harmony and get people to contribute more from their unique individual perspective rather than just going along with what society seems to value. So looking at values and self-worth, this is showing an extremely strong appreciation for not just what makes you unique and different, but also what is liberating. What you can do to make yourself and make others feel like they can be free to be who they are. So being non-judgmental, being inclusive, being an advocate, and really embracing like equality, diversity. These are very core values to this placement. And this difference between like independence and individuality, Aquarius is not necessarily an independent sign. Whether you are or not, of course, everything's going to depend on your own specific placements and aspects that you have to Venus. But I see Aquarius just as a sign, as really honing in on how we are individuated but a part of something greater. That focus on freedom and individuality is ultimately to prop up each individual to be who they're meant to be. So this can come with a really strong love for people just in general, but in their authenticity, in their messiness, in their humanity, ultimately. The love for humanity that comes through can be represented in smaller ways, like being a strong support system within your friend group, or within some sort of community that you're involved in. Your love for any causes that you want to get behind is actually a massive force for change. Because this is a very progress-oriented placement, that future current energy. It's like always focused on creating a better future. That is kind of the core goal here. It can feel sometimes like your worth is actually linked to how much you are contributing and the impact that you have on people, which can be stressful. I truly believe that just that love for people and the intention that goes into it is a very valuable thing within itself. So just be careful not to judge yourself based on how much you have or haven't done, and recognize your core worth as a person who deeply cares about people. This can also show a strong attachment to like ideals over material things. You might prefer to feel more like connected, or again, like you're making an impact rather than having any sort of material reward. But at the same time, there can be a bit of a detachment from your own like sensory pleasure or that focus on enjoyment as an individual. But I'll get more into the potential of the more detached nature of this Venus in the challenges. So when it comes to love and relationships, this is definitely a like friendship as a foundation sort of placement. Being able to see somebody as a friend before a partner can be so incredibly valuable because you know them more personally, more wholly and completely. But the focus here is usually more on like shared ideals, things that you have in common, and that intellectual stimulation, the mental connection that you have with another person, over like really intense emotional connections. The priorities tend to be more in the mind than like getting deep into feelings. Again, you could have any combination of other placements, but this one in particular really prioritizes the intellectual connection here. The ability to be able to communicate with another person and have that energy information flow, coming up with new ideas, or even like challenging your perspective. A respectful debate can be very enjoyable even within a relationship here, because there's a lot of need for variety, intellectual chemistry as well. And also this can indicate a need for space because of that more intellectual way that you might go about your feelings. You could need time to process, space to reflect. And so somebody who understands that need for space, understands that that doesn't necessarily mean you don't love them, that you're not committed to the relationship, it can just be so supportive to have somebody understand that. So that can tend to be more of a priority when it comes to choosing a partner, somebody who can really understand your way of operating, but also somebody who might challenge that need for autonomy, which will always be there. Feeling like somebody is emotionally dependent on you can feel exhausting, difficult, stressful, but what comes with this is also that need for connection, the need to feel like you are a part of something greater. So relationship structures with Venus and Aquarius can be unconventional. You might prefer some sort of arrangement that gives you more freedom, or just a partner who is equally flexible and understanding. But I think that there is a strong romance to this placement where this idea of shared goals and supporting another person comes from such a deep place. That support in another person's dreams, another person's intellectual pursuits, and just their interests. Being able to connect with them on a mental level, there's something very personal about that. Very connected to like our soul's growth and our personal needs for like having space to grow, having the opportunities to really explore ourselves and even change our minds. I find that this placement can really embrace the idea of constant change, the way that we're always changing as people. And just because the sign of Aquarius tends to spend a lot more time in the head than in the body or the feelings, that doesn't mean that these are unfulfilling relationships. And it doesn't necessarily indicate like a distant type of lover. This placement absolutely can commit and be deeply invested in a partnership. It's just that there's a strong priority on personal autonomy and that freedom to change. It's really just about finding somebody who's really compatible and somebody who that line of communication is always open. So then, moving into challenges and growth opportunities, that fear of conformity, the fear of like just becoming another, cog in the machine, that sort of idea, not wanting to fade away, not wanting to blend in. This can potentially cause this placement to reject the traditional beyond one's own good. There are certain things that we have in place for a reason, but of course, question everything that you want to. There's just this very strong aversion to confinement, losing that individuality. So sometimes all sorts of traditional arrangements can be unappealing. And of course, Aquarius can be a very restless sign. This can be like predictability is just so unappealing. It can lead to a lack of interest. Or even being inconsistent, kind of just for the sake of it, just to mix things up a little. And sometimes your desires or your interests can like shift a lot. Even this can be unpredictable because the nature of Aquarius energy is to be unpredictable. So this shows a strong unpredictability in your values and the way that you love that can be surprising even to you. So the way that I see this, I just think it's important to put everything up front at the beginning and make sure, like, does a friendship work first? Are you able to understand each other on that level? That always seems like a good foundation for Aquarius energy, because there are going to be so many other elements to you. I mean, there's a potential here to come across as more distanced or like you don't care, like that aloof nature. It's ultimately important to find ways of compromising where, of course, in a relationship, that equality is always so important. So asserting your needs, but also accepting their needs, figuring out where you can meet in the middle or what signs of like, I just need space are, or I do care, I'm just not as open about showing it. It's all about the communication and knowing what to expect and then preparing for the unexpected. But this placement can also come with an insecurity when it comes to how much you're able to contribute or like whether your contributions are even appreciated or recognized. There is a deep need to be recognized and to be a part of something, because to feel so strongly individual, this can feel alienating. It can feel like you don't have the support of the people that you so deeply support. So this need for balancing your individuality, your space, with your need for connection, that support from the community, the support that you get and give, and recognizing what you need in the moment tuning in a bit more to the emotions, to the heart, to how you feel about something rather than just how you think about something or how maybe you shouldn't think about something. That over-intellectualization can get really confusing. So it's always helpful to tune into the opposite energy, Leo, with the heart and balance any overly cerebral tendencies just if you need the balance, if you find yourself getting too much in your head. There's also a strong need to sometimes get into that emotional expression, become more vulnerable, because that's the way that we truly connect with people. That's how we show them like we are in this. We're not just on the outsides, with our emotional distancing being misunderstood as not caring. The care here is deep. It is genuine, but sometimes it takes expressing that for people to really know, whether that is in a relationship or in a community, or even through your creations. A bit more vulnerability in any sort of art form that you might have can actually really amplify the human side of it. And the thing about these human emotions, the messy side, this is also a part of our value, and this is something that you can appreciate in other people, but can you appreciate it in yourself? It's really important to value the individual self, because Venus in Aquarius can come with so much externally placed energy, so much support that you're maybe not getting the support that you would also value, that you could likely really use. So ultimately, this placement is it's an intriguing one. It's an interesting combination to synthesize, and I feel like people with this placement are so strongly supportive of other people and just of the general direction of humanity. This is a really strong love for what might go underappreciated or unseen because you're likely not looking in the same direction as everybody else. But this is also wonderful, bringing a light to unique things, to underappreciated causes or artists or any of that. And it's ultimately most attractive when you are in your true uniqueness, in your most creative, innovative energy, to present yourself exactly how you want to, be into what you want to, and to have the sorts of friends and relationships that you want to. There's a strong beauty that comes from Venus in Aquarius, really embodying that creativity. So feel free to tell me if you have this placement, anything you want to share. And I really hope that this is helpful or interesting in some way, but thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I love you. Bye.